Your Titans ranking is questionable, but I mean, I've learned to let it slide because the AFC, the AFC beyond the Chiefs is confusing. The teams that are top teams in the AFC just are not. Facts of the case. And this is why schedules matter in the NFL.
Instead of going to the playoff locks, because obviously we have an idea what's going on.
Right.
The rankings pretty much are going to solidify a lot of that conversation right now.
Right.
The Tennessee Titans are obviously one of the biggest controversial
frauds
of the rankings anyway.
Oh, controversial points. I'm sorry. I thought they were one of the biggest frauds outside of Atlanta. But
they were 10 last week on my rankings, and they moved up to 6. Now I explained last time on the podcast, and I'll say it here too, that the reason why they moved up for me was mainly the big jump was mainly because of the fact that we got news, and today, as of like 25 minutes ago, Derrick Henry has been activated from the IR. Derrick Henry may not play this weekend, but again, they're playing Houston Texans. They don't really need him necessarily. And my logic is this: is that I don't necessarily believe in the Titans myself. Okay, however, when you look at the scope of the whole AFC, okay, the Chiefs are probably the only team I can feel like that can run away with the conference, and yet they have games like they had on Sunday throughout the entire year. Therefore, the AFC, in my opinion, is wide open, and because of the environment of the conference, I can see an upwards of 6 teams in that conference, and maybe even 7 if Baltimore gets in, and they're healthy in time. That could be represent the conference in the Super Bowl. So that's why, and then you add the logic of Derrick Henry, plus they win this weekend, they get a bye week. So they really get a little bit of a shortcut to the Super Bowl. That was my logic. Now, if you're asking me, do they get there? No. If they're playing NFC, are they even in the conversation? No. But this is the fact that the combination of environment, the best player returning, and a possible shortcut, 1 game less to get to the Super Bowl is why I said they should be considered.
Right. And while I appreciate all of the above, you have put teams below them that I believe would send them home in the playoffs. That's my only beef. And obviously that doesn't include the Cowboys because they don't play, but I believe the Colts would send them packing. I believe the Patriots would send them packing. I believe the Bengals would send them packing. Now, I think, and of those teams back, actually, I think the most dangerous matchups for the Titans in the playoffs, and we're saying it like it's a certainty. By the way, side note, should they lose to the Jags, with your logic, you wouldn't move them down a lick, would you?
You mean Texans?
Excuse me. What's the difference? They both suck.
Yeah. I'll say Houston's a little bit better, though, at this point.
Yeah, no, actually, the Texans have shown signs of life, a la Brian Flores's Dolphins in the tank for 2 a year, which I told them they should get clever for Trevor, but whatever. That ship has sailed. But the punchline is they're doing kind of like that, and I can see why Dave Culley got the nod to go on and be the head coach. I don't disagree with that. Since we're on the topic quickly, but if the Texans lose, are you going to move the Titans?
Oh yeah, if the Texans want to beat the Titans this weekend, especially.
Okay, because I picked the Titans to have 11 wins this year, and they have
and
11 now. So, I scream and cry about the Titans as somebody who picked them to win 11 games, and the game that they won that I didn't think they would is obviously the Rams, right? I think early in the year, because it would have been pre-injuries and everything else, I actually think I had the Titans beating the Niners because of balanced offense, which they don't have. So, the long of all that short being, it's not that I'm saying the Titans are a horrible football team. They just got a lot of things going their way. They're very similar to the Rex Grossman Bears that lost to Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl.
Right. And here's the thing, Kyle. Everything you're saying, I agree with. I'm just saying that the environment changed the conversation. Like, if we had runaways in the conference, if the Chiefs were the Chiefs the last couple of years, if, I don't know, say the Colts got their shit together early in the year, or some other teams, the Bills were what they were last year, we're not having this conversation about the Titans being in the conversation. But the environment created this opportunity here. And for the record, you said something about like this week when they moved down. Absolutely. You know why? if they can't even as much as even clinch the number 1 seed against a team that's inferior to them, how can I trust them to win the fucking Super Bowl, much less win the fucking playoff game?
You don't trust them to win the Super Bowl now. That's what I'm getting at. They're a first. If
Right.
a team is more likely to be a first round exit than a Super Bowl win, they have no business in the top 5. Period. End of story.
And this weekend we'll confirm that if they lose to the Texans again.
That's too low a bar. But anyways,
But I'm saying, but you asked the question, if they lose, dude. To be honest with you, if they lose this weekend, they might be out of my top 10, depending
I
on how
mean,
things play out, shake out.
they should at least drop low enough to knock the Cowboys out of the